Hey guys, Kimi here. I hope you're all as excited as I am for the first episode of Map Part Reviews. After posting my update video discussing the start of this, I got a long list of people giving me permission to review their map parts. The whole permission issue is why I stopped reviewing full maps. I'm not doing this to be overly critical on random people's map parts. I'm doing this because they asked for feedback. Each of these parts I'm about to review demonstrate talent and individuality. I'm glad to be starting this series with these. Let me also disclaim that I'm no professional critic. It is really easy to impress me. But that's because no matter where you are in art, what skill level you're at, you're trying, and you're only going to get better the more you try. So I'm also doing this not only to give feedback, but to maybe encourage and give tips to younger artists watching. And remember, if you want a part reviewed, don't hesitate to ask. It's easiest to ask me for advice on a specific map part of yours because my brain gets fried trying to figure out which one to choose on your channel. The first one on my list is Indigo Splash's House of the Rising Sun map part. I'll play each part a couple times for you to see, then start my critique. I love the transition between the two parts. It'll be an awesome touch for when the finished project comes out. My suggestion focuses on the last bit showing Broken Star taking a step away from Ragged Star. He seems to falter, and I think either getting rid of a couple of frames or adding more frames would make the movement a little smoother. You could have also had him continuing to walk off screen. Sorry if I didn't explain this well enough, but in conclusion, I really like the backgrounds. They're nice and detailed. The transition at the beginning was a nice way to show the connection between Indigo and Bosley Boz's part. I'd just recommend a bit of different staging for the last bit after he kills Ragged Star. Next is a lovely part by Morticia Cat called Ghost Towns, which depicts their warriors OC.
I see the world from rusted trains, and always know I won't be back. I see the world from rusted trains, and always know I won't be back. I see the world from rusted trains, and always know I won't be back.
It appears to be a cat watching a flashback happen from the end of an alleyway. Then I guess he fell in with a bad crowd because it goes from happy flashback to dark and cold with a bunch of evil-looking cats sitting on a dumpster. Let me tell you, I'm envious of the tweening. I'd say here, though, I have more advice for the backgrounds. They match well with the part, and I especially like the contrast between the happy flashback and dark alleyways. They're also really detailed. For the flashback, I probably would have had what the end of the alleyway would have looked like in a layer under the flashback, and have the white edges of the flashback on just a slightly lower opacity. Or to have the flashback background like what the past characters were in when this scene happened at the end of the alleyway. Honestly though, that's just my own little nitpick. Any of what I say, these parts can definitely do without, but my notes are meant to be used for future map parts. Advice creators can keep in mind. So, Morticia Cat, very nice job on this. It makes me curious of the character's story, you know? Here is Station Pass's Man on the Moon part, for a map I'm really looking forward to. This part has a lot of small, subtle things that add to the quality of the project, like the slight blur where Dre Feather is chuckling and looking back on a sleeping Poppy Frost, or when her and Honeyfern are flying through the air. They use the orange palette very well, and the backgrounds are gorgeous. One thing I noticed is Honeyfern is not really moving or doing anything, she's just kind of frozen in time, floating in the air. Maybe adding some movement to her, like snickering at her goofy sister or flicking her tail, would make up the part a little more lively. That, and I noticed with this bit here with the background, I'd add a little rise between Jayfeather and the sleeping cats to add a little more perspective. It was a challenge finding feedback to give you. This part is really gorgeous. Next is Sarah XU's Carmen part. This part is really beautiful and smooth. I love the foggy background and how it adds to the atmosphere. I'm not really sure what Ashfur is lip syncing here, though. It's really smooth lip sync, along with the head movement. It's just hard to tell with the music, and because it's such a short part, maybe that's more of a criticism on the music than the actual piece. But really though, I just can't find anything else wrong. Sarah said badly needed feedback, but my friend, this is amazing. Keep it up.
I wanna watch the world burn. I got the gasoline. I wanna watch the world burn and everyone get me. I wanna watch the world burn. I got the gasoline. I wanna watch the world burn and everyone get me. I wanna watch the world burn. I got the gasoline. I wanna watch the world burn and everyone get me.
Okay. So this is an excellent part. I really gotta reach into my hat of nitpickery here. That's that nice slow turn Ashfur does, and then how it pans out to show him blocking their path. It's really well paced with the song clip as well. I noticed one thing, which is that the branch kind of changed size between these two shots. It went from barely the width of that Ashfur's paw to bigger in this shot. I think making it bigger in the first shot would kind of change that. I also feel that it kind of looks like he's blocking them from escaping through a stone wall, although they could probably climb that, since they're cats. Like, it may have made more sense if they switched places. Really though, I think that's for a dramatic effect. I can't find anything else. The movement is so nice, the mood is just right, and the backgrounds are just gorgeous. Next we have another pretty underrated artist named Moonsong YouTube. Anyway, the part I'm reviewing is called Lost One Weeping, which appears to be a palette map. I love the use of the palette. I especially like the tweening and movement. From what I can see, it's these two characters fighting, and one of them straps some sort of trap on the other, which cuts into his throat. That's pretty unique in my opinion. I don't know the story of these. Wait. That's pretty unique in my opinion. I don't know the story, or if these are OCs or whatever, but I like that not only did you execute a pretty neat fighting animation pretty well, but that you made it so that they use outside resources while fighting each other. The only place I see that kind of stuff animated is Warriors, like when Brambleclaw stabs Hawkfrost in the throat with a stake. It did take a couple views to make me understand that the other cat had put the thing around the cat's neck. I thought he was like slicing his ear or something the first couple times I watched it. So I'd recommend making the trap a different color from the cat. I know this was a palette, but you could probably have gotten away with making it a darker blue, or maybe using the other cat's orange, warmer color for it. It may make it a bit less confusing for the audience. That's all I have for this, really. I really like the rest of this. Next channel is I Like Cats, and their part Come What May.
Suddenly my life doesn't seem such a waste.
It all revolves around you.
Suddenly my life doesn't seem such a waste.
It all revolves around you.
Suddenly my life doesn't seem such a waste.
It all revolves around you.
I mentioned before probably that I'm running out of descriptive words, so I'm just gonna say this is beautiful. I don't really understand the story or what's happening, but it's still well made. My advice would be making the shading a little darker, may blend it in a little bit to show that it's nighttime. There's also some staging occurrences I noticed where this cat is kind of missing their back half. I think maybe adjusting it more so that either the cat is sitting down or looking up, or you can see the back end kind of over the ears, like the cat is craning the neck to look up to add some more layers to it. And for this shot, you can put the head in the center of the image. I forgot the typical artistic term for that. Use of space, I guess. I'm loving the backgrounds though, especially the starry night sky. Very nice job with this. Here we have Moonshine Animation's hide and seek part. It was made a couple months ago, but was also the most recent map part on their channel. I don't like critiquing parts from too long ago, considering the artist had to have improved over time. Hell, sometimes even a week can make a difference. Still though, this is a pretty nice part. I love the completed map of this. I'm really glad you were a part of it. Your use of the palette is really impressive, and I like the movements. This is another nitpick, although you're probably aware of this from what you said in the description. Where Jay's wing is leaving the tunnel, the tweening kind of outpaces the background, or maybe vice versa. I don't know. This is another thing that really wouldn't affect the map's quality, because it's still such a beautiful map, and you should be proud. Gwenmlo. I hope I'm saying that right. I have a track record for butchering names. Gwenmlo's Eye of the Crowfeather Storm is excellent, just like the rest of the map parts and how they're coming along.
Are you really gonna meet me when I'm gone? Are you really gonna meet me when I'm gone? Are you really gonna meet me when I'm gone?
I can really appreciate this map part for its shading and movement. I don't know what's happening, but that's only because I haven't gotten the chance to read Crowfeather's Trial, or really any of the new books. You have really good use of tweening. Also, I noticed this is a remake. I like the text in the old one, but the movement and the anatomy of the new one. My advice is aimed towards the background, which is definitely fine for it being most of the attention is put on the cats and their movement more than the background. And I also totally understand putting more effort on the animations than the background. I always save the backgrounds for less, which means I rush on them and smack them onto the animation just so it's done and over with. I'd recommend looking up photographs of moors, hill settings to get it down better, like leveling and such. Well, that's all I got for now. This series is a work in progress. I was really trying not only to praise the artists as well as giving them advice. It's difficult, but the more I do it, the better I'll get. I'll continue to work out the kinks. If you'd like me to critique a map part of yours, let me know. It'd be easiest if you gave me an exact map part. That way I know what to focus on with this episode. I kind of wound up bouncing around, undecisive on which parts to use, which may have affected my quality on my critiques. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!